Hey everybody, Riad Bond from Spartan Wellness, and today we're honored to feature the Tema Foundation, an incredible organization focused on supporting the mental health and wellness of frontline workers, including veterans and first responders. Tema offers vital resources and education, helping individuals navigate the challenges they face during and after their service. Their work plays a critical role in empowering those who have dedicated their lives to keeping us safe, and we are grateful for their commitment to making a difference in our community. Um, Cheryl, please let me introduce Cheryl Matthews, the CEO of Tema, and she's joining us today during our Remembrance Week interviews right up to Remembrance Day. How are you, Cheryl?
Great. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here today.
Yes, no, it's great. It's great, and it's been exciting this year working together. I know we've worked together in past years, but I think this year we really joined forces to share each other's both our organizations' services and so forth. And the Ontario event was amazing that we had, and then obviously the Halifax. But I'm sure you're going to talk about those in a few minutes. Let's just jump right in. You know, mental health is a huge discussion point today, and it's always been something that people are learning more and more about. What inspired the Tema Foundation to focus so deeply on mental health, and how has that mission evolved over the years?
So the Tema Foundation began, out of a tragedy when Tema Conter was brutally murdered in Toronto. And it began many years ago when a paramedic responded. And those were in the days, Riad, when PTSD was not talked about, acknowledged, whatnot. And over the
Mm-hmm.
years, thankfully, things have morphed and changed. And Tema is there to teach education and mental health training to help build resiliency and trauma-informed workplaces to all of our frontline workers, safety personnel, and our military. And
Mm-hmm.
we're so proud of the work that we've done, in particular in the past year with Spartan Wellness, and our two education days, as you mentioned, were huge successes in Ontario and in Halifax. And you mentioned how things have changed. I think COVID changed the world for all of us. Back in the
Mm-hmm.
day when, if you remember when COVID started, it was the 16-year-old working at the grocery store that was the frontline worker, and we were Lysol wiping our groceries when we remember those days, Riyadh? Wow, it was not that long ago, but it feels like a decade ago for sure. So we've
I
certainly
was going to
realized
say the same thing. Yeah.
we realize at Tema that mental health is the new pandemic, and the Tema Foundation is here to make mental health healthier. And we're just so honored to partner with Spartan Wellness on our journey to do that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And um, going to the last two events, the Ontario Education Day and Nova Scotia Day, I personally saw some of the impact you're having on, and talking with some of the first responders who are attending, some who have been involved with Tema for a while, and I was just personally listening to them, and I was seeing the impact, and maybe we can expand on that. Can you share a story or an example of how Tema Foundation has made a difference in the life of a veteran or their family or a first responder?
Yeah, no, there's so many. And mental health, as you know, Riyadh, it's one of those things. It's hard to measure. Sometimes it's hard to see. There may not be an instant gratification today with something that you do, or you may never know
Yeah.
because oftentimes people don't like to talk about it. But if I could, I'll share my own story. I am a spouse of a military veteran, and my husband served for 28 years. And
Thank you.
as a spouse raising family with six-month deployments, I believe that's what he did. I kind of lost count over the years, but things were not always roses and sunshine. And
Mhm.
I volunteered actually with the Tema Foundation for many, many years, and got to know Howard and Karen Conter. And from there, and now I've landed in the CEO role with the Tema Foundation. So personally, I've seen the benefits that the Tema Foundation has done. I've seen it when I was volunteering other military families taking advantage, and using the Tema Foundation, and most definitely through our education days. I've heard the stories of how it was so helpful, and it just provides some tips and tools for people to cope. We all have mental health. We're born with mental health, and it's keeping it healthy. And as I mentioned, we're all about making mental health healthier. So I've seen it firsthand, and I've lived it, I've experienced it, and I can tell you that it works when we focus on education and training and building resiliency.
Yes, yeah, totally. And I know it's takeaway again, what I was taken away, and this is being involved with Tema over the years, small parts here and there, and then obviously this year we were more involved, working with you. And I know, one thing I learned quickly is that um, veterans and first responders and frontline workers were a lot more similar than we may believe or first look at. Trauma is trauma. How it comes about uh, can be many different ways. However, a lot of the symptoms, a lot of the issues, a lot of those conversations we have to have. I found I was having those same conversations if I was talking to a veteran brother or someone I serve with versus and the volunteer fireman or the paramedic or a fireman who's made a career. And once we sort of, and it was and I remember in Halifax specifically, we were all sort of hanging out by the, we'll call it the water fountain talking, and
Yeah.
we all just dawned on each other. We were sort of all saying the same stuff, but we were just talking about different career paths. And then we all just we sort of forgot about what careers we did, but we were just talking about the actual issues and problems we were having. And at that point, I felt so connected. I felt like I was in a very safe place where I could be a little more vulnerable and share my experiences. And there was no judgment. And I realized then that, through Tema, I'm realizing more and more that, first responders, veterans, people who serve, it's the service that's the common factor. It doesn't matter what uniform we wear. It's going out and
Right.
being selfless. And I found Tema, that's something I took away. And I know a lot of Spartan people that we talked to after same sort of thing. And I know a couple of the first responders we were talking to, they took that away as well, is that we're all the same. We're people who want to serve and ensure that the people around us are safe and protected and continue that sort of journey after we leave uniform.
Very much
So,
so. And one of my board members once said to me when I started, because I said, why Tema, right? And they said, because you want to always know that if you call 911 or if you're a military personnel and you're going to serve your country, you need to know that you're getting the best version of the person that's going, that their mental health is well, their physical health, it's all so connected. And that's what Tema is there for. We're fighting for everybody.
well, and that brings me up to the next sort of, building a supportive community, in your experience. And I think I know a lot of this answer already. What role does community and education play in a veteran's journey to healing from your perspective? And I know you just talked about your husband, but also first responder, and Tema in general. How do they, what is your sort of takeaway from that, your experience?
Yeah, certainly, Riad. I think that community and education are crucial roles in a veteran's journey to healing, whether it's a veteran or a first responder. That, when we look at the community, a supportive community provides you with a sense of belonging and understanding. You connect with fellow veterans and just that whole sense of camaraderie. And everybody kind of knows. I mean, you talk about standing around the water cooler, everybody has similar lived experiences, and that is so important. That's the community. And education at Tema, we believe, is the secret sauce. It empowers you
Mhm.
to, by enhancing your skills and knowledge and just your coping skills uh, around, because everybody's different. We're all unique. And isn't that a wonderful thing that makes the world go round? That no two people are alike in this world. Thank heavens. There's not another me out there, Ria.
Yeah, I get you. I don't want to see two of me. That's for sure.
No, for sure. But together, community and education can create a holistic approach in healing and addressing the emotional and practical sides of a veteran or a first responder's life. Like, I think it all plays crucial roles in what we do.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right, and I've watched the education being delivered. I've listened to the people talk, the guest speakers, and Tyler, for example, just great stories of resolve and staying, putting your foot forward, and I Tema, you do a really good job of making a very safe place for all of us to actively listen, right? And know that we're around like-minded people. And I think that's so important. And we're just much more receptive of that education and those tools that you're sharing with us for us to get better as well. So I can't say enough about your organization, Cheryl. Both Howard and Karen and yourself and the whole Tema team do an outstanding job. And it's been a real pleasure to sort of join you on your journey as you've sort of joined us this year on Spartan's journey as well.
Well, thank you, Riad.
Saying
And when you mention about our education day, and you talk about Tyler Smith, but I have to say the highlight of our education days for me is listening to, well, I like to call them Tema Zone, but I know you like to lay claim to Jamie McWhirter as Spartan Zone. But I think together, like just listening to Jamie's powerful, powerful story, and he is a military veteran, an Army veteran, and listening to his stories coming out of Afghanistan and whatnot. He is, for those watching and listening, if you have not had the opportunity to reach out or get in contact with Jamie McWhirter, I 100% suggest that you do. He, he went through a heck of a lot, but he uses humor to tell his story, and it's a powerful story for sure. So,
well, we joke
being
about the chips, the Doritos.
yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And Jamie is, and really, Jamie was the person who sort of led myself to Tema, right? And he was talking about Tema, and once I got to learn more about Tema, I realized how big and how much good you're doing. In saying all that, it's Remembrance Week, as we say, and every state coming up. Um, with it approaching, what message or words of encouragement would you or Tema as a whole like to share with the veteran Christian community?
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Riad, because Remembrance Day is certainly very important in my household, being a family home of a veteran, and you will find us at the Cenotaph on Remembrance Day, and so I just wanted to extend a heartfelt gratitude to all the veterans for their bravery, sacrifice, and dedication. Your service has truthfully shaped our freedoms and our future. And on this day, I really want to honor your courage, reflect on the profound impact that you've made on our lives and our community. So thank you so much for your service, and may you find peace and support in the bonds of camaraderie. The Tema Foundation and Spartan Wellness are here for you now and always. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Cheryl. That was, gave me a bit of goosebumps. Thank you very much. That was well said. And it's, I don't think we can all say it enough. And, some of the interviews we've had in the past, people have said, it affects me all year round. And then this week and Remembrance Day is obviously, some of the hardest, but they also mentioned the fact that they know that there's a lot of their brothers and sisters and family and friends that are going through the same thing. So they feel a little more connected in that way to the community. And I think your words speak volumes to, self-recognize that you committed yourself to Canada, to as first responders or a veteran or service, military service. You made that choice and you committed yourself to it and be honored by that. Not to throw numbers out, but less than 1% of Canadians will ever serve in the military, or less than 2% of Canadians will ever be first responders. So it's a very small population, and we're all warriors, and be proud of that. And I thank you, Cheryl, for everything you're doing, and I thank you for those kind words and that great message.
And thank you, Riad, and keep up the great work at Spartan. Together, we will make mental health better.
Yes, 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 yes. And we will all find our new normal, and we will be very much stronger for it. I
We
appreciate
will.
everything Tema does, and thank you, Cheryl. And please pass on my regards to Howard and Karen and the whole Tema family. Thank you.
I will. And we'll see you at Education Day, Riad.
Yeah, it's coming up. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay, thank you.
To all our veterans and first responders, thank you for your incredible service. We invite you to join our absolutely free webinar, Freedom to Live Well, created by our virtual care squad and delivered by Spartan Wellness ambassadors. We're committed to supporting you on your wellness journey and believe that great things happen together. Book your wellness appointment today at spartanwellness.ca.